Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another Diablo 4 video, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the current state of Diablo 4. Now, we all know the meme coming from RiceQT saying D4 bad.
So see you fine folks over there in just a moment. Thank you very much.
D4 bad.
And how the latest dev streams and the changes leading into Season 2, Season of Blood has been a step in the right direction. Now, I feel like the entire gaming industry, at least the vocal part of it, has been very much on extremes on each side of the spectrum. So I wanted to take a little moment to talk about these things in a more, I guess, a more reasonable voice. And I hope that this is something that can get across as a discussion approach. I want to hear you guys' thoughts about this in the comments below. So I don't want to say that D4 is bad, but let's look at the actual part of the problems with Diablo 4 that it came off with. The game had a lot of bugs, a lot of issues, and it was very slow and changes things. And they also made decisions to change things based on community feedback, even though the changes just felt like they took a random number out of their asses. These are just a few of the long list of issues that Diablo 4 has gone through, with a rather slow development cycle towards the end. On the other hand, in the last month or two, they made more changes than I've seen happen in the entire development cycle of the game, which is absolutely crazy. What happened? Microsoft? I have no idea. I'm not in the industry. I'm only here to spitball and just talk shit, basically. Quick break from the video to introduce you to my new sponsors, Into the AM. Into the AM sent me some of their clothing that you've seen me wear on the streams lately, including this shirt that's gonna make you look hella fresh. Just check it out. So the best part about it is that they're very soft and very comfortable to wear whilst you're gaming in your chair, sitting inside a tight room. It gets hot and whatnot, but the clothes persist and keeps you very cool, not just the good looks. So after wearing these clothes for quite some streams now, I'm very happy to say that with my whole heart, I can just tell you that they've exceeded any expectations I had in terms of quality, how they feel, and how they last through the washes as well. So Into the AM has a link in the description down below for a 10% discount code using the code GHAZZY. So when it comes to the changes, I feel like the initial part of Diablo 4, leveling from level 1 up to 50, 60 in that ballpark, that part of the game, to me, was already pretty enjoyable in the original state of the game. And then after that is where the big problems became very noticeable. Lack of endgame content, lack of aspirational content, and this is also where you saw a lot of the bugs and glitches when you started getting full gear, gear progression, itemization problems, enchant costs, you name it. There's so many issues that were emerging. So now we're fast forward to Season 2 and we look at what has actually changed. Now, my initial take on it when I hit about level 52, 53 was actually that the part of the game that was already good, in my opinion, was made significantly better. Thanks to the itemization structure, thanks to the fact that I am now incentivized to engage with content in the game that is just not spamming Nightmare Dungeons. I was so wrapped up in the amount of content I could engage with. I'm not saying there's so much in the game, but I was so incentivized to engage with other parts of the game that I completely neglected running Nightmare Dungeons till I was like level 60, 70. And the problem with that was that I didn't have my glyphs level, so I had to go back to farm up my glyph levels. I think this was a good problem to encounter personally because of the fact that I felt very, very enjoyed. I was having a good time. I was happy. Grinding out Hell Tides. I did the seasonal Vamp Tide mechanic, if you will. And I had a really good time playing. And then I did Nightmare Dungeons, and I felt good as well. The new endgame bosses, Grigor, the Beast in the Eyes, Varshan, Lord Seer, Duriel, the fights were actually really good. The problem, though, is that they don't fit in the category of aspirational endgame. So I will say this with the experience I've had right now. I'm in World Tier 4, and I'm about to hit level 90, I think. And I'm having a pretty good time blasting the endgame content. And this is where the problems start to reappear a little later than they were in the past. So the thing is now is that the game has always been target of the acquisition market, if you will. There's a reason there was such a huge amount of players that were complaining about the fact that, hey, we're in a position where why should we be re-leveling our character every 3 months? That's crazy. Why can't I level my main? These are individuals that has never played an ARPG game, because these seasonal cycled approaches to the game, that has been I don't want to say use the word meta, but it's been the norm for this type of genre. And the thing is, this was a really good strategy. Blizzard is great at the whole marketing structure of their games. They market the games, they blow up, they make millions of dollars of profit. But the problem is that the people that are going to stick around and play the game consistently, and the ARPG veterans that love this genre, they are not satisfied with this product. Now the Season 2 came out, they turned around a little bit on this approach and started catering to the players going further. But not far enough, according to a lot of people, including myself. So now we're looking at a game that is catering to people towards the endgame. But the endgame was easier than Uber Lilith. The Duriel fight is a really cool fight, and with enough gear higher level, it turns into a joke. The first time I engaged with it, it was mostly made pretty easy thanks to me having a party and having a barbarian with proper resistance and defenses tanking the fight for me. And then I was able to sit on the outskirts being my necromancer, and I was able to burn the boss down with high damage output. I did die quite a few times due to lack of defenses. Now I'm geared enough to handle this very easily myself around level 90, and the fight's not hard at all. Uber Lilith is still a very engaging fight in terms of difficulty as a aspirational content depending on the build you play, but it's still not really there, in my opinion. So with that said, I want to point out that the endgame boss mechanics, the way they've done them, I think is a really good decision. Not just a step in the right direction, but a baseline they can actually work very well with. So what happens is that if you engage with certain parts of endgame content, you get access to shards, if you will, that allows you to engage with certain bosses. So one part of the game allows you to get access to the Grigor boss, and another part, like Nightmare Dungeons, allows you to get access to the Beast in the Ice. If you do Varshan as well as the Grigor, those two bosses drops fragments that you're able to use to engage with Duriel. This allows you to basically target which type of boss or type of content or boss or endgame mechanic you want to engage with, similar to that of many other endgame ARPGs kind of styles. PoE, for example, you can decide which type of mechanics you want to engage with, and Diablo 4 is now doing this in a very, very basic level, and I think that's a really good decision. However, since they are not challenging to the point of being in the category of aspirational, they are still catering to the endgame for the more casual player base. They have said several times in official statements that they are going to work on endgame, and I think this is a really good state. The biggest issue with all of these changes is that they're taking a huge leap in the right direction. The game is, in my opinion, way better than it's ever been, but that's still a problem. And that problem is that the state the current game is in right now is what people expected the game to be in on launch. If the game launched Season 0 in the state that we have now, I don't think we would see people saying, hey, D4's bad everywhere. I think we would rather see people say, the game's pretty okay. And I think the game is okay at this point. It lacks aspirational endgame, and they said they're going to work on the endgame content. So hopefully, we'll see something in the next season, or maybe the season after, that's going to cater to those things. I thought this game was going to require maybe a 2-year time frame before it was going to reach the state that it's in right now. So I'm actually very carefully optimistic that they're going to do this quicker than expected, or sooner than expected. So that's basically where I'm at when it comes to where the current state of Diablo 4 is in. It's a okay game, or good game. I wouldn't go that far. I'd say it's okay now. It doesn't cater to the type of player base that I'm in. It lacks aspirational content, but it allows you to have a very enjoyable gameplay loop at the end game with the availability of targeting which type of content or bosses you want to engage with. Another thing to add to that is that these bosses have an increased drop rate of certain build-defining unique items. So if you're looking to play, say, a Ring of Mendon build, which is what I'm playing right now, my job is to farm Nightmare Dungeons to get Beast in the Ice, because that boss has an increased drop rate off that specific ring, so I can upgrade the efficiency of my character. And I've always been a big advocate and a fan of target farming or target acquisition approaches to the game. So this is also another step in the right direction, which is not great, but it gives them that baseline approach to work with. So I'm hoping to see some Uber versions of these bosses, like Uber Duriel is going to be harder, more engaging than Uber Lilith, for example. So I'm very excited for these things, but I do want to say that because of the fact that they took a 7,000-mile hike down the wrong road, then they took a huge leap in the right direction. The real question we got to ask ourselves, is it enough? So my point is this: when people have been asking me in the stream about these things, should I buy the game, GHAZZY? Is it good enough now? Is it good, or is it fixed? Or is D4 bad, which is what most people have been saying in chat, but that's a meme. If you haven't bought the game yet, watch some videos, watch some streams, and make up your own mind whether or not you think the changes are enough for you to buy it. If I played Diablo 4 the very first time and the game was in the state it is right now, I would consider it to be a good game worth my money. Not great, but it would be worth the money at least. if I bought the game when I did for $100, not very satisfied with the purchase. Not at all. And if you decide that, hey, it's not enough, I'm going to hold off and wait till later, don't buy it. It's very simple. It's a game. You're supposed to have fun. If you're not engaging, if you're not having fun, or you don't think you have fun with it, don't waste your money. I think that the game will be good in the coming seasons or two. I definitely think that that's going to happen. And the current state is very exciting. Another thing to point out is, like I mentioned, with the acquisition approach of the game, they are now looking at catering to the retention part of their market. And I think that's a really good decision. They have the new players came in, they tried it out. They even have people like Elon Musk playing the game. The marketing is off the charts. It's all over the place. Everybody knows about this game. And to focus on the end game allows them to focus on the retention of the players that exist in the player base. So I'm very excited to see what happens from here. Because if you know one thing that Blizzard does well, it's literally two things. One is shoving nostalgia down our throats till we throw up. The problem is we don't. We just keep swallowing that shit. And the second one is marketing, and they do that really well. So I'm very excited to see what happens. So I guess my final words and my statements on the current state of Diablo 4 would be that I consider the game to be okay, almost borderlining good, but it lacks aspirational content. If you're a gamer that doesn't play 10 hours a day like us degenerate no-life streamers, I think you're going to have a great time with the game. I really do. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think of these changes in the descriptions below. Sorry, not in the descriptions, but in the comments down below. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more content. And until next time, stay safe. Keep rocking.